Good morning, class. My name is Mr. Bowen. You have 10 seconds to get something to write with to take your notes. You need your notebook and a pencil. Those are two things, a notebook and a pencil. Then I will count to 10. John, what was the first thing I said? A notebook. Very good. What was the second thing I said, Susan? You don't know. Billy, can you help her out? Get a pencil. What was it, Susan? A pencil. Thank you. You have 10 seconds starting now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, counting up. 1, 2, 3, still waiting. 4, okay. We went 4 seconds over. What do you think that means? Bill, what do you think that means? Yeah, it means we went 4 seconds over, so we're going to have to make up that time by adding 4 seconds to what we do after class, okay? Now, you guys can cut back on that if you transition better next time we transition. So if you transition in under the amount of time, if I give 10 seconds for the next transition, and we do it in 8 seconds, we could take 2 seconds off of this. Okay, now in your notes, here's what you need to write down. This is today's objective. This would be on the board. Write today's date. We're practicing binary numbers. Today's date, this is a 12, and this is an 11 in binary. And this is what we're going to be doing today. Our learning objective, write it down. Everyone should write it down. Students will compare using rational numbers. Okay, I'll give you 20 more seconds to write that down. I'm setting a timer. And this would be on a board, normally not on a note card. 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6. When you're finished, please put your pencils down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And all pencils are down. Very good. Okay, let's talk about what rational numbers are. So before we try to compare them, we need to write down this definition. This is also displayed on the board. So everyone write down what this is. Before we write it down, John, could you please read for us what this says rational numbers are? And John reads it, and the whole class listens. Rational numbers, they are numbers that can be divided using two integers. It results in a terminating or repeating decimal. Also, make sure you write down the example and the non-example. The examples are things that they look like. 3 over 4 is 0.75. 2/3 is 0.6 repeating. That's a repeating decimal. And looking at backwards, 45% is 45 hundredths, 0.45. And then we have non-examples. Pi, it goes on and on forever. It doesn't terminate. That's what those dots are, those ellipses. And it doesn't repeat. There's always a different number. And then we also have 22 over 7. Again, it's another way of doing pi. Doesn't terminate, doesn't repeat. So write down your example and your non-example. You're writing down the definition, the example, and the non-example in your notes. Okay, we'll take 10 more seconds to finish writing. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Put your pencils down when you're done. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, this is our guided practice. So we'll do one together, then you guys will do an activity as a group together. So here's your guided practice. We need to compare these rational numbers in order from greatest to least. So we need to review real quickly. Everything needs to be in the same unit. to do this. Real quickly, Susan, can you remind us, I want to make all these a decimal. Can you remind us how we turn 1/4, 1/4 into a decimal? And Susan, because we did this last week, tells us, oh, divide it, top in, bottom out. Okay, so we go and we divide it. And what value did we get, Susan? Top in, bottom out, we divide 1 divided by 4. We end up with 25 hundredths. Okay, and Mike, can you tell us how to turn a percent into a decimal? Mike, you don't remember? Okay, Jennifer, can you tell him? Move the decimal 2 places left. She says, okay, Mike, what did she say? She said, move the decimal 2 places left. Okay, thank you. So that becomes, when we move the decimal 2 places left, there's a decimal understood at the end, 0.35. So now we have everything in decimal form. This one is 0.25. This one is 0.35 or 35 hundredths. And this one is 0.27. Make sure they all have the same number of digits, 2 digits. And now we can compare which one is the greatest, 35%. Which one is next, 27 hundredths. And the smallest, 1/4. So we would put them in the proper order. Okay, so the activity you guys have, working together in rows of 4 or 5. So we're going to have this row here is row 1, this row here is row 2, this row here is row 3. And I'm going to give each of you a note card, face down. Don't turn it over yet, don't mess with it. So each student is getting a note card in each row, and I walk around putting it on different desks. And this is a sample of what they're getting. 5 different students will get 5 different rational numbers, some fractions, some decimals, some percents. And their instructions as a group, working together, collaborating, figuring this out, are to put themselves in order without switching cards. They have to keep their card. So students, you keep your card and you put yourself in order. And the order that I tell you, with the least being in the front and the greatest being in the back. So you have to move around, move back and forth, wait till I say go. So the instructions I'm giving you, do not swap cards, move around and put yourselves in the right order that I give. So what were those 2 instructions? The first instruction I gave you, Susan, put yourselves in order, good. But before that, what did I say, Mikey? Don't swap cards, keep your card. Okay, then Susan, what was the other thing? Put yourselves in that order. Okay, and Jennifer, can you tell us where does the front go? Is that the least or is that the greatest? Good, front goes in the least and greatest is in the back. Very good. Okay, so everyone has a card now. When I say go, you guys get up and look, start moving around, put yourselves in the right order. Ready, go. And students will put themselves in order. We would do this activity, swapping cards 3 or 4 times until they get the point. And an extra challenge, we would make it to where they have to do it silently. After we've done it about 2 times, then they have to do it silently without talking. Then, of course, we would have an activity to build on top of that with extra practice or homework. All right, thank you. So to wrap up, an exit ticket. I have 1 exit ticket, has 2 problems on it. Put these problems in order from greatest to least, and I will pass that out to all the students, and they would have to show me that on their way out the door, or we would do that on a whiteboard where they display the answer when I put a question on the board. And that would wrap it up, and I would tell them have a good day, go to the next class.